making it possible to celebrate on the spot the 30th anniversary of my first coming to Canada. It was September 1st, 83. So that's a time. After graduating, so I'm doing a story, personal story like Andy did, and it's a good tradition, I think. After graduating, I worked as a translator, then joined a research group at the Department of Comparative Literature, who were working on a chronology of world literature. My own research area was poetry drama of the interval period in England, focusing on T.S. Eliot. In 1982, however, the late Stefan Sarkany, professor of comparative literature at Katalin University, Ottawa, wanted to open for young scholars from Hungary and gave me information about the application procedure on the postgraduate level. I arrived with a single ticket, no money at all, but I was lucky enough to be kind of received by Professor Eva Kushner, who was then still in Ottawa and moved to Toronto, and so sort of could become a family member. At Carleton, I still wanted to pursue studies and research about modern drama, its theory, but I had to take a survey course of Canadian literature as requirement of my grant. And here comes the epiphany in the true modernist sense. See Joyce and Charles Taylor. Actually, this course changed my academic future. Professor Robin Matthews' enthusiasm simply swept me off my feet. He gave me a season ticket to the great Canadian theatre company, who had a very good season in 83-84. I went to see all kinds of shows, be they student companies or guest performances at the National Arts Centre. Then I could occasionally travel to Toronto and Montreal to see even more. I could listen to Northrop Frye opening an exhibition about paintings related to Jacob's Ladder, listen to writers and poets reading their works, got in touch with experimental Hungarian-Canadian poets who were back home, by the way. All these occasions offered possibilities for making friends with artists and colleagues of widely different backgrounds. At the end of my stay in May '84, I could attend a conference on multicultural writing in Ottawa. It was but natural that I would write reports about both the academic and theatre events in Hungary, and luckily there was a welcoming atmosphere. So my research interest detoured to include Canada, especially bilingualism in drama, and then including French language and essay writing as well. Later on, I was editing special issues about Canadian criticism and multicultural writing. I translated Blood Relations by Jean Pollock from English and La Guerre sur Palier from French. And a monograph about modernism in Canada is coming out one of these days in Germany. On the regional level, I was editor-in-chief of the Bilingual Journal of Canadian Studies, then project director of mapping the translations and reception of Canadian literature in criticism. So Christina's interest sort of coincides with that. In Hungary, at the biennial conferences of English and American Studies, from the mid-80s on, we have been having sessions dedicated to Canada. At my university, I've been teaching courses both in English and in Hungarian about Canadian literature and multiculturalism, interculturalism. Dozens of students chose to write their MA thesis about this topic. Next year in Szeged, we are launching a new MA program on inter-American studies, including Canada and Quebec. In '89, I could teach one semester at the U of T. Then in '93, I had a 6-month research grant at the University of Montreal. Then another longer research grant in 2010. Since the late '80s, I have had the chance to visit Canada for various lengths of time, almost every year, either as ICCS grantee or with the help of some other research grant, or with the help of having saved money from ICCS grant. going to libraries, regularly attending conferences, theatre festivals in Montreal. These regular contacts with the culture and with colleagues are indispensable for a deeper understanding of the development of culture, and I'm sure everybody agrees with this. Students are interested in the social and cultural background of the works they read. For these personal experiences are also needed. The faculty research and enrichment programs were of great use to update our teaching material and to work on research topics. Online sources cannot replace the special thrill of finding a book that one didn't even know about on the library shelf, while of course looking for another. Nor can an occasional Skype call substitute a lengthy discussion with a colleague over a cup of coffee or during the break of a conference. We need up-to-date material for our teaching to attract students, implying familiarity with some of the latest thematic exhibitions or with journal articles. Theatre being a live art form, seeing the shows is the real thing. Living on another continent, of course, we cannot participate in every important cultural event in Canada, but to be completely deprived of possibility will, without any doubt, have a negative effect on our teaching and research. What does a better knowledge about the culture like Canadian offer for me in Hungary? First and foremost, with a comparative approach, it can broaden the scope about the workings of culture in general and of a relatively new culture under completely different historical and geographical conditions. In a way, I can see my own culture through a different prism. Some politicians like to say that people in the humanities do not contribute to production. But I think we can agree that some knowledge about the cultural background often proves advantageous even before signing a contract. And the image of a foreign country is fundamentally shaped by its culture in the widest sense. Translations of various books, exhibitions, concerts, guest performances by theatre groups, and so on. These days in Budapest, Michel Tremblay's Les Belles Sœurs is on in one of the most popular downtown theatres. It's approaching to the 80th performance, by the way. A few days ago, a concert of Katalin songs was held to full house. Canadian films and cartoons can be seen both in movie theatres and on television. All these can be perceived as almost cost-free publicity for Canada.